Breathing. It is something that all humans do and is a complex process of the human body in staying alive. When you breathe, you inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. This process is called gas exchange, and all human bodies automatically breathe. We don't normally think about breathing because it just happens, and we don't even realize we are doing it most of the time. Try taking a big breath right now. How does it feel? It should make you feel good. About half of the world's oxygen is produced by a process called phytoplankton photosynthesis, which are microscopic organisms in oceans and bodies of water. They are necessary for global oxygen production and carbon absorption through photosynthesis. The other half is produced by photosynthesis on land with trees, shrubs, grasses, and other plants. Without the oceans, lakes, and trees, we would not be alive. For most people, taking a big breath should make you feel good. But when we take our last breath in this life, what will that be like? What will happen to you then? Billions upon billions of people throughout history have taken their last breath. On average, a person's lifespan is about 80 years or so. Approximately 110 people in the world die every minute of every day. One day you will be part of that number. All human beings who die are replaced with new baby human beings who continue to be born. In most cases, taking a last breath and then dying is a natural human process which takes place every minute of every day all around this planet. People continue to die, and there is no way to stop that process. Every person who has ever died has faced taking their last breath. Regardless when, where, or how a person died or who they were, they all took their last breath. Once we take our last breath, then we'll never be back to this life. Hug the people you love and be near to them as often as possible, because it will all end very soon. However, some people, such as believers in Buddhism, think we can come back to human life through reincarnation, but they are just dreaming. Even if reincarnation were true, and it cannot be true, you would not be coming back to your loved ones. We will never again be back to this or any other mortal life. Many people believe they need to obtain or create a certain goodness or perfection level in this life to achieve a good outcome for their next life on earth or their eternity. They want to be sure that any impurity which exists within them now, however that is defined, can be erased and cleansed in some mysterious, ethereal way, and by doing enough good while they are alive. Also, some people cannot accept the concept of a lasting, permanent bodily death with no more human life to come again. No more future human life, no more past human life, no more life here in this mortal world. When we take our last breath, then what really happens? Eternity happens. The first thing that will happen to us upon our last breath is that our bodies will either be buried somewhere, or our body will be burnt to ashes and stored in a container, or scattered in the wind somewhere. That's usually how it goes. But regardless of where our physical body will be, we will be dead. Our bodies won't be able to feel human death after we die because we will not be alive anymore in our mortal bodies to feel this life. But when you take your last breath, you will have entered eternity and will be there forever, without end. Think about that. Atheists, people who don't believe in any God, think that because they won't feel death after they die, and that death will be like falling asleep, then death is no big deal to them. But what if there is more to come for us after death, and that it won't be like falling asleep, and it will be bad? Can we know what will actually happen to us in eternity? Will there be more colors, light, and beauty? Or will there be permanent darkness and loneliness forever? Or will there be nothing? Don't let anyone out there fool you into believing that you'll be able to get more chances after this life is over to reach potential rewards in eternity. More chances do not exist after you take your last breath. There is no mystic force or God who is keeping score on your life and defining and counting your goodness, failures, and your impurities as a human being. There is no one in the sky counting up the so-called good things you did while you were alive and weighing them against your bad things. Plus, who defines what is good and bad? Us or someone else? That would not work. It's so easy for certain people to say that you might get a second chance after you die to get it right because they think you are a very good person. So then you deserve it. But you don't get a special spiritual shower for your soul in eternity to get clean after this life is over. There is no waiting period after this life is over. and no one is grading your life, giving you points, or inspecting you during this life or after you take a so-called spiritual shower. Those things do not exist. They are wishful thinking. People who say you'll get other chances after you die want you to believe in some random and/or unknowable force who will determine your eternal destiny by what you do here in this life. In other words, you have to work for it, and then without notice you might get the gold ring, but you won't. Or maybe you think a life score is only kept on you and the people who believe like you. Who would be doing all that counting, and how could you ever know where you stand? Or would you be doing the counting or examining yourself after you take a spiritual shower to get clean somewhere else once you die? No one and nothing is keeping score on you. There are no after-death spiritual showers for you to take. No one can pray you into heaven once you take your last breath. You need to have the truth of eternity now before it's too late. When you take your last breath, then this mortal life is over, finished, done, final, and will never happen again for you. Your eternal destiny is sealed as soon as you die, and it will not change once your life is over. There is no going back. If you are following a set of personal or religious rules during your life, those so-called rules won't help after your life is over when you take your last breath. Death can be very difficult to think about, and if you have had close family members or friends who have died, it is even harder. Nevertheless, the reality of death and eternity is real for all of us. Just because it is hard to think about doesn't mean you shouldn't think about it concerning yourself and your eternal future. There are some people who believe that God issued a set of rules thousands of years ago for people to live by. And those rules are called the 10 Commandments. But if God is real and those rules came from God, then He would likely expect us to follow those rules in our lives. But if we mess up and don't follow all of those 10 Commandments, or we break the rules from time to time, isn't that bad? If it is bad, then do we get punished in some way? There is no one who will be giving you a thumbs up or thumbs down based on what you did in this life. We are just wishful thinking if we believe that. What does make sense and what we do know is that you and I will die someday when this life is over, and our bodies will cease to exist as they are. Our bodies will deteriorate in the grave over time or be burned up through cremation. Then where will we be? When you die one day, someone may say that you died peacefully in your sleep, assuming you died in your sleep. But what if you died from having a heart attack? Would that be peaceful? It could happen to you. It really doesn't matter in the end, because you will have taken your last breath either way. After you take your last breath, there will be no resting in peace, RIP, because dead bodies cannot rest since they are not sleeping. That dead person cannot wake up in this life anymore. They are not breathing. We will not inhabit other people or life forms because their spirit souls are exactly fitted to their one human body. Our soul will not occupy another human body or entity because our soul is unique. Your soul cannot push out, live with, or replace another soul in another body. That is science fiction. You and your soul are eternally one. You have one mortal body, so you better get used to it. It is yours, so treat it well. Please watch part 2 of our video series, Your Last Breath.